Hello and welcome back to another episode of Swing at Shins, your Premier League podcast stateside or across the pond. I mean, if we got people listening from Europe, that'd be pretty cool. If you are actually listening from Europe, comment down below. We want to know. Well, I mean, the country would be pretty cool. You don't have to give exact location. I don't need that much great detail. Anyway, today we have me, Aaron, and Rhett on the horn here. How are you doing, Rhett?
Better than you, I imagine.
Definitely
Not
after
by
that
much.
intro.
It's been a couple days.
Okay,
But better than you.
I've Rolling Stone gains no moss. I'm okay. Keep moving.
Okay. You didn't look great when you left. In fairness, I wouldn't have looked great, so I ain't gonna hold it against you.
Look, I also had 40 ounces of beer, so the emotions were always going to be teetering on a cliff.
So I think we should just jump into it. I think we should just jump right into it. It's the match. It's a swinging at shins derby.
Yes, actually, it is.
I'm gonna say my thoughts just because I usually ask for your thoughts first.
Well, I mean,
I thought that Villa played exceptionally well.
I thought so too.
I thought that Villa's defense was very, very good, and that's not just it took Arsenal away to score. Their ability to always be in the most opportune spot to delay was amazing, especially in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many times where it felt like an Arsenal player held onto the ball for too long, and it's just because there was nowhere for the ball to go.
Sure,
that was incredible, and really, it took a pinball to get a goal past Emi. By the way, I understand people saying, "Oh, well, he got his hands to the second one." First of all, that's a Thomas Partey fucking banger. Secondly, he was completely screened until it got around, I believe, Digne.
Yeah.
And yeah, he got his hands to it, but he didn't know it would be there.
It was complete guess.
So that's my thoughts. I think Arsenal played very well. I think Arsenal did exactly what you would expect a team to be there at the end, going for a title to do. I think Villa also played incredibly well.
I agree. I'm going to be honest. At no point did I ever think that Villa were going to drop points. Whether it was going to be pick up a point or get 3 points, I didn't think they were going to drop 3 points. Or I didn't think they were going to drop points. I thought if Villa were going to lose, it would have been in the first half, but they did well enough to defensively hold Arsenal's attacks and their waves. And honestly, in that first half, there really weren't that many chances by either team to be had. There was maybe 2 by Arsenal and then 1.5 chance for Villa.
It was a big chance by Villa, though.
Yes, and I'm not saying how big or significant it was, because obviously it was very significant, but
it was a howler. There's no other way to describe it.
It's a guy who has been playing at Euros for 3 months, 2.5 months, not getting a lot of playing time and not in the squad a bunch. And yes, I understand they're paid to put the ball in the back.
No, I get it.
And all that stuff, but the training still. I mean, go out and play a sport, take a break for a little bit. And I know he's been training with Euros, but it's not the same. It's really not the same. I honestly think it's a little more laid back when it gets to country versus club.
I think all that's true. I think it's one of the things where he's not a bad player. I still really rate him. I think he's very good. But it's a very, very, very different game if he slots that one home.
Both of them. But anyway.
I'm going to give Raya a lot of credit for the second one.
I don't.
Yes, there's a lot. Okay, come on. No.
I'm dead serious. I am dead serious.
You have to give Raya credit for that.
Nope.
You have to give him credit for that.
0.
He got up and made the save. There's no way it's 0.
0.
There's no way it's 0.
0. It was headed right back to him.
No, it wasn't.
He literally just had to get up and do this.
He was arm completely outstretched. After laying on his back, he got back up, arm completely outstretched. Now, we can have a conversation about where Watkins should have put the ball. But to say that there is 0 credit to Raya to save that is insane.
I'm saying it right now.
Also, I don't give a shit because you should put it when the goalkeeper's on his back, you put it center and goal. the amount of goalkeepers that are going to get up and make that save is a lot smaller than you think it is. It's a lot smaller than you think it is. And Aaron, you're just going to have to watch it again on Save of the Season
Not
because
gonna save the season.
it's going to be in the compilation. I can guarantee you
That's
that.
fine. I can live with the compilation, but it is too early right now to say save the season. It may be
No,
save
it
of the
is
week. It may be the save for the first 2 weeks.
okay. It's
It
Save
might
of
be
the
the
week.
save for the next 10 weeks.
It's Save of the week. At
But
least, at least. I was talking
I
about Watkins' first one. Watkins' first one was it was very well worked. It was very well worked, and he
yes.
pulled it wide. It was that simple, and I don't think it's that bad. But again, it's those type of things where people say, he could have done more.
Sure. I don't
That being
disagree with that.
said, I think this is a classic case of on the day Arsenal was this much better,
Yeah, and
which is funny because last season, both matches, I could have made an argument that Arsenal played better. Maybe not so much the second one, but definitely the first.
the first one, yeah, I would agree.
And 2 years ago, especially the second match, the Villa away match where Jorginho had the goal, Villa played better. We play each other very, very evenly.
I agree. I didn't think it was a lopsided match in any manner in this particular one. It was I if you were a neutral, I don't know if you would enjoy this match just because it probably didn't have the same back and forth feel as some other matches this week. But if you were definitely affiliated with this match, then it was a good match for you. But
speaking
I'm
of
not.
good matches that we can both enjoy, Brighton 2, Manchester United 1 to start
Oh
off.
my gosh! Thank you, Pedro. Oh my gosh, his name just dropped out of my head. Huh?
No, Pedro's his last name, isn't it?
Zhao. No, not Zhao. Oh, poopy.
Something like that. I'm telling you, it's something like that.
Zhao Pedro.
Pedro, there you go.
Getting me those 5 points for my fantasy Premier League team. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Xerxes, for being offside.
That too. Oh my goodness. I kind of forgot about that because of the 97th winner.
That's what I tried to say, minute winner at the same time.
Yeah, it didn't work. It's one of those word mash. I think the refs definitely made the right call with Xerxes being offside. Sorry, you affected the play.
Like at the end of the day, I think
it's the same
I
thing.
think it was going to go in anyway, but that is the definition of the offside.
Okay, just exactly like
it just is.
Who had that same VAR check where it was overturned because it was a handball, but it came off of the shoulder. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that happened again, and you can't score a direct goal with any body part of your arm, with any arm part of your arm. That's what I mean. And it happened where it hit the guy's shoulder, and I would consider this shoulder. It hit him right here, and they ruled it out because it's a handball.
Yeah, I know it's unfortunate.
I
think it's worth saying, like, not too many people are complaining about it.
No,
I think that's all you need to know. That
I think
everyone kind of agrees.
Media
again, well, because it should have been a Manchester United goal. Yeah. If Xerxes wasn't in offside position, like it was decently worked. They had it. I mean, Danny Welbeck comes back and scores for Brighton Hove Albion. I know it's been forever, but Danny Welbeck, former Manchester United player.
Yep.
And then for Pedro to be that open, I mean, he literally stood up and was like, "Hey,
yeah, he did.
Over
Both
here,
those players
please."
on the back post. There were 6 players.
Maguire, Martinez cannot be. They can't be the back line.
No,
they can't.
And that's why they went and spent. I just realized this too, but I'll get to the point. That's why they spent all that money to buy all of those defenders. And by the way, so Ajax paid $25 million for all of those Onana, Delight, and then they turn around and make
Anthony.
a $200 million profit. Well, that's not technically true, but Ten Hag got his Ajax team essentially back. So you're going to try to work that through.
I know, but that Ajax team, it just.
I know. I'm not saying it would be successful in the Premier League. We're about to find out part of it to see if it's worth it.
Not going to. All right, here's the last stat I have for United. How old do you think Mateus Delight, however you say his name is, how old do you think he is? He was on that Ajax team, then he was on Juventus, then he was on Bayern, and now he's on United. How old do you think he is? This guy is 25 years old.
I'm going to be honest, my gut was 26.
That's insane.
I
thought 30. I thought 30 easily. He's been in the league forever.
Yes, he has.
He's been playing for Ajax since 2016.
He's a good player. There's no doubt about that.
I have opened up a rabbit's hole that we're going to have to jump into soon.
Are you looking up all of the Ajax players now?
No. It's more
well,
fun.
Not all of them. I meant the ones that Man United bought.
It's more fun than that. But we're not going to get to that yet. We are going to jump back into, the thing we're doing, which is the Premier League. Everton look awful. I'm not saying because Spurs won. Spurs won. Spurs definitely won. Spurs is going to be a good team. I don't think they're going to be a great team. They're going to play European football next year. I'm not trying to hate on Spurs. Everton look awful. Like bottom of the league, -7 goal difference. I don't care who you played. That's bad. Even Ipswich Town got a goal against City.
Yeah.
Like Everton looked bad. Ipswich Town with the biggest blue balls that we'll have all year, maybe, hopefully. Wow. That was one goal. And I wasn't even paying. I forget what. I was golfing. And because I was like, I'm not even going to watch this. I watched Man United lose. I'm going to golf. I'm going to go to the Villa game later at the Beer Garden. It's going to be great. And then my phone blows up because Ipswich scores. And I was like, yeah, hold on to it for 85 minutes. I was like, that is not happening. It's not even close. That will never happen.
No. They don't have that.
West Ham looked like the West Ham that everyone was talking about.
The one they bought, yep.
Well, that's how it works, Aaron. Your second favorite team, Fulham, beat Leicester City 2-1.
They looked
ESR
good.
Looked good.
And Fulham have they transferred in Anderson from Crystal Palace. I just can't remember his name. I want to say it's Joachim.
Speaking of teams that also don't look that good, I know that they're sitting on 4 points. Newcastle is not off to a good start to the season at all. Not happy with what's going on.
I'm going to
1-0 Southampton win.
And
then 1-1 Bournemouth draw.
I'm gonna toss the Southampton win to the side because they were 10 men for a good portion of that match.
Yeah, and the reason why they were 10 men was stupid.
Well, yes, we're not here to argue that, but I'm gonna toss that one particular match out to the side. I think Bournemouth are an okay squad. They really kind of turned the screw on Newcastle for this match. Kirkez and Semenyo and trying to think of the other wide player. Also starts with a K.
All right, how about this?
Doesn't matter.
I know it's not the Premier League. Almiron, Isak, Tonali, Willock, Trippier, Byrne, Joelinton, Pope, and Barnes all started today.
Yes.
Bruno came on the 15th minute. Anthony Gordon came on the 61st. Livramento came on the 62nd, and Longstaff came on the 62nd. They took Nottingham Forest to penalties in the EFL Cup.
Oh.
And won 4-3. They do not look good right now. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but this is a bad start. I know they're 6th, and it looks good, but that's a bad start.
They got to work through some stuff.
Yeah, and they better work through it quick because they have Tottenham on the 1st, and quite frankly, right now my money would be on Tottenham.
I would think a draw personally, but I guess that's
right now, not the way the two teams are playing.
Did you get to watch any of that match? I'm just curious.
The Newcastle Bournemouth match.
Yeah.
I watched some of it, not a ton of it.
I honestly thought that Newcastle had a ton of opportunities. I think they're kind of losing the battle in the midfield right now. And they're getting transitioned on quicker than they were last year. Even
Are
with
those
all
not signs of a bad team, though? Like, you're getting transitioned on and losing the ball in the midfield. Sounds like a bad fucking time.
I think that's just Eddie Howe ball at this point. It's you try to win the ball in an advanced position, and if you don't, you're going to get broken on. It's going to get your press is going to get broken on. So then you're left with what you're left with 4 or 5 guys breaking on 3 defenders.
I get it, but that's kind of like the whole let's just play with a high line, and if they break the line, they break the line. Yeah, okay. It's going to lead to a lot of goals.
Makes it real simple for the defenders, if you ask me.
I mean, you're explaining what they're doing wrong, and I'm not arguing that fact. I think that it's bad. It's like, hey, man, listen, the Red Sox problem is that their pitchers just can't throw strikes. It's like, yeah, that's bad. It's not good.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. What other matches do you want to talk about? Anything spring to mind? Because I have some juicy stuff for the second half.
I was actually thinking of. I mean, I don't really want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because they put up 6.
Oh yeah, no, that's worth it. Chelsea 6.
This is the Chelsea squad that every Chelsea fan should be drooling over. This is the Chelsea squad that could scare the Premier League. However, I don't know if they'll be managed properly to do that, because Medweke is going to throw in a hat trick this week, and then he's going to be on the bench for some other player.
And maybe he won't, but let's take a huge step back.
It's Wolves.
Palmer's a very, very... First of all, yes, it's Wolves. Secondly, Palmer's a very, very good player.
Yes. Oh, totally.
Saw had an absolute screamer. I think the only thing you need to know about this match is A, it happened in week 2, and B, Wolves had a higher expected goals.
They were... I watched a bit of that game, and it was... So this is actually kind of the match that I would suggest people to watch because of how fast-paced this game was. It was out the gate like watching horses run a race. It was incredible. And I don't know how they all just didn't collapse into the 70th minute.
I mean, seriously, when you look at it, Wolves had 1.96 expected goals to Chelsea's 1.68. If you have 1.68 expected goals and you scored 6, that means everything went your way.
Yeah.
And I just like, okay, yes, big win, yes, 6-2 win, yes. Don't care if it's against Wolves. That's plus 40 your goal difference.
Yep.
That's in the Premier League. That is a big win. Get it. Yep. Like you said, do it again next week.
Yep.
Win consecutively because, they're coming off. Yes, they looked good today or this match week. I get it. They looked completely lost against City.
Yep.
And if your answer to that is, well, it's City, then the gap is still a billion miles wide. Because that's not good enough. Amazingly, it's $1 billion the other way. Like, give Chelsea their due. Yeah, they won 6-2. And but Palmer had 3 assists and a goal.
Yep. Jackson
had an assist and a goal. Caicedo, I mean, their defense did not even rate that well. I just Gusto, Fofana, Colwell, Cucurella. They're going to get, Wolves put 2 past them. They're going to get scored on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had a team that could hold on to the ball a little bit better, oof.
They're my favorite, all fur coat and no trousers. This is just one of those days where they had, they had trousers on today.
Yeah, that's true. All right. I want to get into what we have for the second half.
Sure.
I have asked some listeners what questions they have for us. You ready?
Yes. Wrap it up.
First one's how does the Aaron Ramsdale transfer help Southampton's chances of survival?
I don't think it does. I'm sorry.
I think
I
it
think I think
does.
it'll make it like closer, but I
Yeah.
don't
No.
know
So
if
it
it'll
helps.
save him.
It helps,
Yes, but I don't know
but
it'll
it doesn't
save
help
him.
enough.
Yes, that's
That's
what
where
I'm
I'm
thinking.
at. That's where I'm at. It absolutely helps. He's an incredible shot
You know
stopper.
who else
I think he's very
actually
good with
would
that. I just
really,
don't think
really
it's good enough.
benefit an Aaron Ramsdale would be Bournemouth. That I actually think would be significant.
Yeah.
And
He'd just
Chelsea,
be going. He'd just be going back.
because Chelsea needs another goalkeeper.
Ha ha ha.
Like they
We'll
need.
get that question comes later. All right. What are your thoughts on Arnie Slot so far?
He's been all right. I mean, honestly, he's been given golden keys, so all he's got to do is stand there. I feel like it's the same way with managers who coach Real Madrid. Maybe not to that peak, but there's kind of not a lot you need to do other than be like, hey, we're going to win, right? All right, cool. But like, it's still a little too early for me to tell. I think he's started out well, and that's what Liverpool needed.
So I'm of a couple of minds. One, I agree with what you said. I mean, when you look at the lineup he's putting out, right? The lineup for the Brentford match: Allison, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, Alexander Arnold, McAllister, Gravenberch, Diaz, Sosbalai, Salah, Jota. I mean, that feels like a Klopp lineup.
Yeah.
Right? Like nothing's really changed. And of course nothing's changed. They haven't signed anybody.
Not true. They've signed two people. They've signed the Georgian goalkeeper. I'm not going to pronounce his name
so
right now.
now I mean it the way we traditionally mean it instead of the literal meaning of they haven't signed anybody.
And
it's true until
they
24 hours ago.
signed Chise, Federico Chise.
Good for them. Anyway, that's not my point. My point is,
I'm just trying to fact
a little bit. I want them to play a good team.
Yeah.
Liverpool's still my pick for third. I still think they're a good team.
Yeah.
But this whole Arnie Slot's got it thing, I don't know. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm saying he's played a Jurgen Klopp team against Ipswich Town and Brentford at home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know yet.
And they play Man U, so it's like, which tale of Man U are you actually going to get?
They're playing Man U away at Old Trafford. I think you can learn stuff from that. I think how they come out could matter.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if they go and beat Man U 3-1 or 3-0 and Man U can't get out of their own way and it's another 7-0, I'm still going to go, I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have Nottingham Forest away. Then they have Bournemouth. Then they have Wolverhampton Wanderers away. Then they have Crystal Palace away.
Yeah, holy good God.
Then they have Chelsea at home in October 9th. Like, they're going to be top of the league in the middle of October, and everyone's going to be talking about Arnie Slot leaving into the promised land, and I'm going to go, I still don't know. They have the easiest run. They have the easiest kickoff to a campaign for one of the top four teams I can ever remember.
Yep.
And again, I'm not saying they're bad. They could be very good. In fact, they could be better than I think they are. 2-0 wins. They're right there with Arsenal with 2-0 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there's something more to be said to Arsenal going into Villa Park and doing it than fucking Liverpool going to Ipswich Town.
Fun about that statement is that Villa holds weight to competition. And I shouldn't toot them like that, but that's just how it feels. And it wasn't like that 3 years ago.
Villa's had.
It wasn't even like that 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, after that Villa match, everyone thought, "Oh man, Arsenal cracks are showing," because they barely got past Villa.
Yeah.
And now people look back at that match and go, "Wow, Arsenal played that match really well."
Mm-hmm.
No, Villa Park's bad. It's not an easy place to go. It's not Anfield levels. I would say right now it's not even necessarily Emirates levels.
Mm-hmm.
But It is, well, just because of how good our defensive record is at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not like, oh man, the Emirates is a fortress, because it's not. But Villa is now, I would say, top five park. Everyone talks about
I
St.
don't.
James's Park.
I don't
Like, St. James's Park is not a fun place to go.
because
I'm
nobody
not
likes to
that
travel.
worried about the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, Etihad's up there, not because the Etihad's not a fun place to go. It's because the team scares the shit out of you.
yeah.
You know? No one's looking forward to the away fixture at Villa.
No,
All right. Next question is, what clubs look like relegation sides already? Everton.
the bottom three that currently sit there.
Yeah, Everton, Wolves, and Ipswich Town.
Although, no, you know what? The fact that Wolves lost Neto is a big deal. Although, I don't know, that one's kind of a toss up too. How often did Neto actually play for Wolves before he got injured? Strand Larson? Yeah, Strand Larson looked pretty good. Cunha looks really good. I think he could probably go either next window or summer window. But outside of that, um, this team's got problems. This team's got some real problems.
I don't trust Gary O'Neill. I don't trust Wolves. I don't trust the
Yeah,
people on their team.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Wolves looks like a, and right now Everton look like a relegation side.
Oh yeah.
Everton right now look like the worst side in the Premier League.
They don't
It's not close.
like watching Dwight McNeil play. Just he seems so vacant in his head right now. There's just nothing up there,
In
and he's just
fairness,
running
yeah,
to run.
that's true. In fairness to Ipswich Town, can you imagine a harder start to the season than Liverpool at home and Man City away?
Not at all.
Like, oh my god.
Those fans must be like,
So
they
maybe not
probably
then.
broke so many keyboards when they saw this. They're like, "What the f, man?"
Maybe not. Maybe Ipswich Town looks great because they only are negative 5 goal difference after those two matches.
I mean, it'll be a fun match when they get to play Fulham because I think Fulham are still a step above them, but it'll be at least a lot closer than the other two.
Crystal Palace doesn't look good, but I think Crystal Palace will be better at the end of the year than Southampton. And I think that Leicester still gets a points deduction.
Yeah, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Chelsea buying 200 players? I think that was mostly tongue in cheek.
Uh,
Nick, you know my thoughts.
I hate
You
the
idiots.
amount of players
That
that
was
they're
to
buying,
Chelsea, not to them.
and it irks me that no regulatory. Uh, boy, I really tried to
They
sound
didn't break
smart,
the
and it
rules.
just
They
anyway.
didn't break the rules.
Yeah, I get that they don't break the rules.
They broke
but
the
God,
spirit of the rules.
Yeah, but it feels so dirty, and
Yeah,
I
it
hate
does. It does. They broke the
it.
spirit of the rules. They broke the spirit of the game, but they didn't break the rules, and it's going to kill them in the end. And I'm all
I
here
hope
for
it does. I really
My
hope it
thoughts
does.
are great. I love it. I love watching the sinking ship. Do you or don't you agree? Based on what you said earlier, maybe. Raya is Arsenal's best player of the season so far.
No, I don't think he's the best player so far.
You don't like goalkeepers. That's what I've decided.
Well, other than Emmy, but that's
Yeah, no, that's the problem.
oh okay.
You got too much Emmy just
Yeah,
right here.
That's can you blame me? That dude is just so cool.
I can blame you for having blinders on, yes.
Uh, no, I actually right now, if I gun to my head, uh, I'd still pick either Saliba or Havertz, one of those two.
I think Raya's been the best. I think Raya's been the highest consistent player. Saliba had a couple of oopses in the first game that didn't necessarily lead to anything, which is fine.
Yeah,
Raya's the reason. Raya earned those 2 clean sheets. Maybe not so much against Villa, but if there was an Arsenal player that earned a clean sheet against Villa, it was Raya. It wasn't just the defense. You know what I mean? Two more questions. Sorry, I have no idea. Phil asked, when does the Saudi Pro League crash? Because he thinks it's going to be like the Chinese League. I think that you underestimate how committed the Saudis are to throwing money at it.
As long as they've got oil, they will have a league.
Yeah. When does the Chinese League? When does the Saudi Pro League go the way of the Chinese League? When electric cars are ubiquitous. That's the answer. Until then, it doesn't matter.
Agreed.
Brian wants to know which clubs get negatively or positively impacted by European football fixtures this season. First part of that, do you think that clubs do get positively impacted by European fixtures?
Yes, I think because teams either they get more visibility. That's what I want to say.
Does visibility help the end of your season?
Well, they help fan base. They then turn around and buy product from your. It's a minute pro. It could also help bring in players because you're like, oh, hey, you played in Champions League,
and that's my thing. I think that Villa doesn't get some of the players that they got if they aren't in the Champions League.
Absolutely not. If they didn't, if they didn't make Champions League and say they ended up in Euros, I don't think they get Onana. I think they actually end up selling Douglas Luiz for less. I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I heard very little out of you for the whole Douglas Luiz.
I don't want to talk about it for the next 10 minutes. We could save it for another time because I have very strong feelings on how they were forced to sell him, and they were forced to sell.
Okay, no, we don't have to get into it. It was just a sad thing.
I know, and that I have strong feelings on it. It's very tough to be a club that isn't considered traditional six.
I don't know if that's necessarily the reason why they were forced to sell. I think that they were forced to sell because they haven't built up the amount of players yet to get away with it. And you say that's a problem with traditional six. I think this is one of the reasons why Tottenham Hotspur buys one player a season. Because they do. I know that they technically buy more than one, but there's the one marquee signing every year that they actually make a splash for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it is financial fair play. I do. They always need 3 players. They always buy one. And then they buy 2 other cheap guys that they hope make it.
Yeah.
You know? I think that Villa is going to be negatively. I think Villa is going to have a net 0 gain or loss on European football.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. I think that Tottenham Hotspur and United could both suffer from Europa League. I don't see what Chelsea's suffering from Conference League could possibly be. Lord knows they have the players to fucking rotate the squad.
Well, that's true. All 9 goalkeepers can go start in the outfield.
Maybe Liverpool
could negatively
They don't have a lot of squad depth.
Oh, they just went out and bought 2 players, so their depth is complete.
But they're going to be in a Champions League that has more league stage, group stage.
That was the thing I wanted to bring up about Liverpool and Arnie, actually. It just popped in my head. I think a lot of players and upper management were in a holding pattern to see how the first 2 games were going to go and whether it was going to be labored or whether it was going to be smooth of a transition. And then players will make their decision based off of how these first couple of matches go and whether or not the club jives with him.
Maybe.
Now we're starting to see some of the dominoes fall.
Yes, but I don't know. Liverpool right now just looks like a team that isn't heading in the right direction from a player standpoint. There's been a lot of negative press This is not the first year that there has been seen to not be putting enough money into the team.
They did it like 3, 4 years ago, I think it was. Four.
Yeah, I could argue they did it last year.
Mm, I think they're trying to rely on a lot of the youth as well, and that's fine with me.
Again, I know you can explain it, but if you're talking about bringing new players in, it doesn't look like the place to land. Villa looked like a place to land. Chelsea looks like a place to get paid.
That is true.
Arsenal and City look like a place to go win.
Yep, that's
You
that's
know,
for sure.
I don't know if Liverpool right now. Now, if Arne Slot can lead this team through it, and they go buy a player or two in January, and they're still in Champions League, and you can see the growth.
Yeah.
Right now, Van Dijk, Alexander Arnold, and Mo Salah are all in the last years of their contracts.
Yeesh.
And I have no idea what this team looks like next year, and neither does anybody else.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
I do agree. I'll bring it back to the other question, the negatively impacted. I do believe that Villa, just because they don't have the big depth like some other squads do, or experience where they don't know how to manage minutes on players. And I'm not saying that Unai doesn't know how to manage minutes on players, but the players don't know how to manage the minutes involved. And I think you could see some more injuries involved. And
yes, again, Unai has made a lot of deep runs. Winning Europa League puts as many minutes on your legs as winning champions.
Well, they also went and ran to the semifinals for Conference League.
Right? Yeah, so I think that it will be tough, but again, this is a hard question to answer because we don't know what the new format's going to look like. Moving on, high-profile manager gets sacked first. This is from Phil. Phil named a lot of managers that are not going to get sacked. So I'm just going to limit it to Ten Hag or Maresca.
It's funny. I was actually having this conversation with myself. I believe Maresca could be the guy. Just because there's just the Chelsea revolving door. And if you're not doing good by January, see you later.
I think it's Ten Hag, and I think it's Ten Hag because Ten Hag doesn't get till January. And on top of that, I think it's because of he should have been gone in May. I don't care if he wins the FA Cup. He should have been gone in May. And they're going to be off to a really bad start to the season again. And I think that they're going to pull the plug. I do.
You know who else I could see actually getting canned? And I don't know if it'll be the first big canning either. It's going to sound really weird because I'm a big fan of him too. Eddie Howe. I feel like if he doesn't have a good season this season, and by good I mean top 5, 6 at the worst, I think he could get canned.
Yeah, so Eddie Howe wasn't on his list, which is one of the reasons why I didn't bring him up. I also think if Eddie Howe gets canned, I'm not saying he won't. I think if he does, it'll be in March or at the end of the season.
And that's why.
So that's not the first.
Be the first. Yeah.
Do you have a mid-table team that you expect to make a jump like Villa did?
So we're considering mid-table like 10 to 15, something like that.
Not bottom feeders, but not traditional top 6 or not anyone who finished.
All right, let me look at last year's table real quick.
Well, while you do that, I have an answer.
You go ahead.
I don't think anyone's going to make a jump like Villa did because no one's positioned themselves to make a jump like Villa did.
I actually have one.
But if someone does, it's Brighton and Hove Albion.
And that's who I was going to go with because I needed to see where they sat last year in order to make this decision. Mm-hmm. And they were 11th last year. And they were only 11th because of the amount of injuries they sustained, and they just weren't quite ready to do tournament plays, and they just got knocked. That's all. It happens.
I mean, this also leads into Phil's final question, which does Brighton finish higher or lower without De Zerbi? Phil, you know better than this. Brighton's strength has nothing to do with their managers. Graham Potter leaving proved that. De Zerbi leaving is going to prove that. I think De Zerbi leaving has already proved that. Yeah, this Brighton team looks more like the Brighton that I know than they did at any point in the second half last year.
Mm-hmm. They look
This
real.
is what Brighton does. Brighton is what Southampton tried to be and almost was for.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
They really are. They're super good at finding talent. They're super good at nurturing talent.
Yes.
They're really, really good at getting a team and getting a player to the next level. They get every ounce of football out of them. And they don't need the manager so much to do that. That's not modern football is different. It is not the time of the Fergusons and the Wengers doing this on their own anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It takes an entire organization, and Brighton understands that.
Yeah, they got it. They definitely got it. They actually went and bought a player from Newcastle. His name is Yannick Minte.
Mm-hmm.
Probably still butchered it. And they bought him, I want to say, for like almost 40 million pounds, which is outrageous for them. And he's 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of those few
We'll
where
sell
they
him
like,
for 80 in a couple years.
And that's what I'm getting at is they'll still make a profit off of this player. Like they will not buy players if they know they won't make a profit off of them.
Yeah, and I also think that they have a better idea of understanding what a profit is.
That is
staying in the Premier League. If I buy a player for $20 million and I sell him a year later for 10,
Yep.
He's the reason why I stay in the Prem. That's a profit.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. We wanted to keep it close to 30. We're at 42 now. If you stayed this long, thank you.
We appreciate it.
We do appreciate you.
Kisses.
We appreciate all you guys. If you didn't like the answers, any of your questions, then ask better questions.
And send in more questions because we like
send in more questions. That's what I should say.
Actually, if you're still listening here, put some questions in the comments, and we'll
especially on Spotify. Spotify pings my phone. So
nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So if you want your question read, answered, drop it in the comments.
All right. Thank you so much for listening, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to tip your bartenders. Well, guys, that was an episode of Swinging at Shins. We appreciate you for coming out and listening to us. If you guys want to hear or see more, we have links in the description below. We hope to hear from you soon and hear more about what you have to say.